Hey guys, Meteorologist Chris Tomer here with this Monday mountain weather update. All right, my first stop is up to Jackson, Wyoming, and we're going to talk a lot about temperatures with this because this warm atmospheric river flow is definitely doing some damage here. So down in the town of Jackson, it's mainly been kind of a rain snow mix. You can see the streets are wet at the town square. The temperature there is about 34. If you go up to the mountain, Jackson Hole ski area, the temperature at the base is 35 degrees, they're reporting. So it's like a degree warmer. 28 mid-mountain, 27, that's it, at the summit, over 10,000 feet. So that's what you tend to see, though, with these atmospheric river setup, especially the stronger they get, the warmer they are. They're just pulling in all this heat and this warmth, this latent heat off the Pacific, and just flooding parts of the West. So we're seeing that. Although 9 inches in the last 24 hours, I'm sure the skiing will be good mid-mountain and higher in the colder temperatures. So it's nice to see the new snow, and you could still pick up a little bit more before all is said and done. Let me take you to radar here and just show you what's going on. So there's still a little bit of leftover snow over parts of Wyoming, but you can already see the next storm system, the next wave of moisture that riding into parts of Oregon, and that will eventually fill in and become precip for a lot of Washington State, Idaho, Northwest Montana, and also British Columbia. And then the flow is going to dry up by Wednesday morning. So we have at least today and tomorrow with this AR in place, and then it will start to dry up. Let me take you to Alta, Utah, and talk about the temperature scheme there. So even though you're not in line with this atmospheric river in the Wasatch, it is still warm. There's an area of high pressure across a lot of the desert Southwest that's helping to kind of pump some of this warm air in. So 37 at the base, 85, 60. 30 mid-mountain at Alta, and only 27, that's it, at the top of Collins there at over 10,000 feet. So it's warm. It's warm across the west. You might pick up an inch of accumulation with this passing wave to your north today, but that is some warm stuff. All right, let's go to radar up in the northeast. It's gonna be all about a series of Alberta clippers in the forecast. Now this clipper is largely gonna miss Vermont, New Hampshire. It might brush Maine. There's an area of low pressure behind it that will come in tomorrow with a better shot of snow. Here's water vapor across the west. Couple of things to point out. So on this, oranges and reds are going to be your drier air in the low levels, and then your moistures and the whites and the blues. So there's our wave passing through the Tetons. And there's a storm system moving onshore with this atmospheric river flow, and I'll just mark it in green. That's that rich flow that's escorting all that extra moisture and heat into the Pacific Northwest, BC, and there's good overrun into parts of central to northern Idaho and northwest Montana. So that's what's happening all the way through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Here's my timeline. So that flow continues into tomorrow. And then the next storm system for the rest of the West, like Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, doesn't arrive until 3-2 through 3-5. And that looks like a pretty warm storm system as well, although the temperatures will go down a touch with that. Let me just talk a little bit about the rain snow line for today. Revelstoke, it's up to 4,800 feet, and that's where we've been. I had a note, though, that skiing is very good at Revelstoke right now, higher on the mountain. Central Idaho, warm up to 6,000 feet initially, and then it will fall to 4,300 feet. Northwest Montana today, up to 5,000 feet, that rain snow line. So seeing that rain snow mix pretty high up. And the Wasatch, believe it or not, today, up to 10,800 feet. And that's kind of a similar story for Colorado. I want to take you to my Twitter account because I made a few different tweets about this, and this was for specifically for Colorado's. This is the freezing level or rain snow line for Colorado this week. So today it's up to 11,000 feet. Um, Tomorrow it's 11,000 feet, so very similar to Utah, and then 8,000 feet by the time we get into Wednesday. So a little cooler, and then it's back up to 11,000 on Thursday, 11,500 Friday, and believe it or not, on Saturday, up to 12,000 feet. Now, that wasn't the only post I wanted you to see. Look at this avalanche that occurred. This is near Grand Lake, if you're familiar with that location, Granby, Grand Lake. This happened over the weekend, um, and there were snowmobilers that triggered this, and they were partially buried. Look at that guy's snowmobile coming down the hill. Luckily, nobody was killed out of this, but an amazing, I mean, that's how unstable the snowpack is. This was my forecast total snowfall in Colorado all the way through Saturday. And so it's really a waiting game. There's only one little minor storm system that will clip the mountains on 225 tomorrow. And you can see the amounts. I mean, they're very, very light. And again, this is all the way through Saturday. We're just on the wrong side of the flow in Colorado. It's warm, and these snow amounts are very light. These minor amounts. So it's a waiting game. Now, after this, there are some storm systems that will come in beyond this. Okay, let me show you my timeline. Best odds of snow. Big Sky, the Wasatch, Tetons, Colorado, interior BC, the Pacific Northwest, Tahoe, and the Northeast. I'm not going to go through all these, but I wanted you to notice when, for example, in Big Sky, you've got moderate to heavy snow all the way into 25, but then you've got a moderate shot on 3-2. In the Wasatch, it's a waiting game. 3-2, 3-3, 3-4, 3-5, and it could be heavy. Tetons at 3-3 through 3-5. Colorado 3-3 through 3-5. So that's that next storm that would come in later in the period. Um, Interior BC, you still have a few different chances. The Pacific Northwest, it keeps coming. The Tahoe area, 3-2, 3-4. So that second wave is going to be helpful for that area, and some decent snow for the Northeast. Let me drill down to Alta, Utah. And this is effective about 9,000 feet of elevation. So it doesn't have much. I mean, it might have a snow shower today. Otherwise, it's dry. Again, it's just a waiting game until we get into that 3-2 through 3-5 time period. But very warm. Looking at 35 degrees today at 9,000 feet. That's when I said the freezing line this afternoon could briefly rise to 10 to 10.5 up there. Tomorrow, it kind of gradually cools through the day into the 20s, and then 25 on Wednesday for the high, and then back up to 33 on Thursday. So that's some warm stuff. There's no question about it. Okay, let me take you to the forecast for the snow accumulation over time. Okay, so on this, I'm going to start at 11 o'clock today. And keep in mind, the light blues on this are going to be the lightest accumulations over here on the legend under 3 inches. The greens are 3 to 6, the yellows are 6 plus, and the reds would be 10 plus. So starting at 11 o'clock today, you can see where the snow is. It's in Montana, it's in parts of Idaho, it's in the Tetons. There's a little bit brushing the northern mountains of Colorado, and then it fades. And then that wave, that final wave with that atmospheric river continues to affect the Pacific Northwest, BC, spilling over into Idaho and Montana through the 25th. This is 11 a.m. on the 25th. Then it kind of sinks down, brushes the Tetons, brushes sort of the central and northern mountains of Colorado, and then that's gone. And one little final wave, and then that moves on through. There's some snow from the northeast. This is 11 a.m. on the 27th. At this point, it's all high pressure across the west. The flow is directing everything up into BC. But look at all the clippers coming out of Canada and rolling across the Great Lakes in the Northeast. It's pretty remarkable. There's just one right after another. This is late on the 28th. Here we are late on the 1st. Here's March 1st. You can see a little storm coming out of California rolling into the Four Corners here with some light snow accumulation for parts of southwest Colorado into March 1st, March 2nd. But here comes a more appreciable setup. So here we are late on the 3rd. This storm system on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, it's going to have some moisture, but it's going to be warmer. All right, here we are early on the 4th. Look at all the snow for Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, northern New Mexico. It rolls through, continues into the early morning hours of the 5th. That's really the next best shot for a lot of Utah and Colorado. Okay, let me show you my numbers. Okay, all of today through the 2nd, maybe an inch or two in the Wasatch, and that's it. 4 to 6 up in the Tetons. In Colorado, 1 to 3 for I-70 and north. That really fits with the forecast map that I showed you here that I was using. I put this together, and that's it. It's kind of a 1 to 3 inch snow across a lot of I-70 and north. Now, up in Montana, potentially 5, 6 inches through Big Sky, Bridger Bowl, Whitefish at the higher elevations. In Idaho, central and northern Idaho, 6 to 12 inches up there from Brundage up to Schweitzer at the high elevations. 5 to 6 up in parts of interior BC, 4 to 6 sunshine up the Marmot Basin, and 1 to 2, maybe 2.5 feet for the Pacific Northwest, and a little bit very late in the period for parts of California. I see some pretty good snow for a lot of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine here through the second, potentially 6 to 10 inches of accumulation, including New York State. We could see through Whiteface and Snow Ridge up to 10 inches of accumulation. So I like what I'm seeing, but it doesn't all come at one time. All right, we'll end on the big map here for the West. It's a warm pattern. Gonna have to kind of wait for Utah, Colorado until we get into 3-3, 3-4, 3-5, 3-6, until we can kind of shift the pattern a little bit. Otherwise, that's it. Everything's kind of focused up to the Pacific Northwest and Northern Tier. Guys, thanks for tuning in here. Always appreciate it. Take care and have a great day.